Hello, Altona students. So today we're going to go over how food goes through our body and how the digestive system actually works and its functions and the different organs within the system itself. So at this point, will you please get out a pencil? Make sure you have this graphic organizer that's in front of you, so this diagram of a human with the different parts of the digestive system available, and be prepared to take notes as I go along. So I want to start out with a fun fact. Every 2 weeks, the stomach creates a new mucosal lining, otherwise it would digest itself. So basically that means if it didn't create this new lining, then your stomach, you wouldn't have a stomach anymore. It would just totally digest itself, which is so crazy. Okay, so let's actually go through the digestive system, the organs, their functions. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to pick a food and we're going to talk about how it goes through the system itself. So I'm going to choose hot Cheetos. It is my vice. I love hot Cheetos. They're really bad for you. Do not eat them, but it's one of my favorite chips, so we're going to go with that. Okay, so when I see a hot Cheeto, I'm super excited and I eat it. But what exactly is going on in our bodies as we eat food? So, the first place it enters your body through our digestive system is the mouth. On a side note, I just want to make sure you guys are writing down the terms and the arrows as we go along. So in the mouth, we have these awesome things called chompers or teeth, right? And they mechanically break down the food because you crunch on the food. I'm crunching on those hot Cheetos. They're super hot, right? And as I'm eating them, I notice that I'm getting a lot of saliva coming out. Why is that? Well, I have salivary glands, and those salivary glands make saliva that chemically break down the food. I just named 2 processes in the digestive system. So you might want to pause the video or rewind and think about what are they. So they are chemical breakdown or mechanical breakdown. A little fun fact for you is that we actually make from 1 to 3 pints of saliva a day. That is a whole lot of spit, people. Okay, so we have all of these hot Cheetos in our mouth. We know that the saliva chemically broke down those hot Cheetos. The teeth and the tongue mechanically broke them down. So it's kind of a mushy substance now. And we need to get those hot Cheetos down into our stomach because we are hungry. How are they going to get there? Through your esophagus. Pretty cool. So that esophagus is actually going to move the food from the mouth to the stomach by pushing it down. Okay, now those hot Cheetos are in the stretchy muscular sac that holds all the food, which is called our stomach. Dun, dun, dun. All right, in the stomach, we have this mucosous membrane layer, which you're going to see in the virtual reality if you're doing that next. And that helps mix and churn the food mechanically. And then there's also hydrochloric acid in our stomachs, and that breaks down the food chemically. So these hot Cheetos are only partially broken down, not completely. So there's some accessory organs to our digestive system, such as the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. And I'm going to briefly go over those now. So the pancreas has an exocrine function and endocrine function. So basically it has 2 functions that help in digestion. So the exocrine function is that it releases enzymes into the small intestine, okay? And it helps break down food, so our hot Cheetos, into usable nutrients for our body, such as sugars, proteins, and fats. The pancreas also has an endocrine function, so its second function, where it regulates blood sugar. So it releases hormones such as insulin and glucagon. And insulin kind of opens up the cells. It's a key to let nutrients and sugars in, whereas glucagon is a key that it connects the cells and releases those sugars into your blood system. Now the pancreas needs some help breaking down those fats, and that's where the liver and the gallbladder come into play. So the liver has tons of functions, metabolic functions, regulatory functions in the body, but one of its functions is to produce bile to help break down fats. So that bile is secreted into the small intestines as well. Now, if for some reason there's no food in the small intestine or the stomach, that bile is going to go into the gallbladder. It's almost like the body doesn't want that bile to go to waste because it's spent so much time and effort producing that bile within the liver. So it will actually store within the gallbladder. Okay, so let's back up. These hot Cheetos, partially broken down in the stomach, start going down the small intestines. But right at the start of the small intestine, the pancreas makes chemicals, right, such as digestive enzymes that help digest food, and puts those in there. So they're breaking down. Second thing, the liver, okay, is producing bile, and that is secreted into the start of the small intestine. That helps digest fats, breaks down toxins, and regulates cholesterol and sugar in the blood. And then finally, if there's no food around, that bile is actually going to be stored in the gallbladder, and the gallbladder can secrete bile as well. Whoa, okay, so the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, they do a lot. So at this point, the food is broken down, and it's in our small intestine, and in the small intestine, the food is ready to be absorbed, and it's not food anymore. So those hot Cheetos that we're thinking about are now totally just broken down into sugars, proteins, and fats. And those are able to be absorbed into the blood, out of our small intestine into the bloodstream, which is awesome. Okay, so let's take a step back and think about these hot Cheetos, right? So these hot Cheetos are in the small intestine, and they're trying to get through 22 feet of small intestine, which is insane. That's like 22 notebooks lined up back to back. But it's the small intestine is actually folded over, called circular folds, and it's going to slow down the passage of the food. And then there's these things called villi, and they actually help absorb all the nutrients that we want to go into our blood. Okay, so these hot Cheetos are really being digested at this point. They're probably no color anymore, and all that's really left is water and vitamins. And that's the purpose of the next structure in our digestive system. So we call it the large intestine. Some people call it the colon. And the point of that structure is after the small intestine, those hot Cheetos or food goes into this colon or large intestine. And in that, as it moves along, all water and any vitamins, anything that is possibly left is absorbed at that time. So what do we have left, people? Drum roll, please. Fecal matter! Condensed fecal matter, aka poop. And that is all that is left after the large intestine, and it is stored in your rectum to be released from your body. Okay, let's do a quick review of those hot Cheetos. So the hot Cheetos start in the mouth, right? The teeth break them down mechanically. The salivary glands break them down chemically. They're pushed through the esophagus all the way down into the stomach. That hydrochloric acid breaks down the food chemically, mixes and churns the food as well mechanically, mechanical digestion. Then we have accessory organs, liver, pancreas, gallbladder. The liver creates bile, which helps break down the fat because the pancreas needs help with it. Any extra remaining gallbladder, we're not going to waste it. Nope, going right to the gallbladder. The pancreas actually helps break down the fat, protein, and any other foods we've got going on, carbs, right? And really breaks it down into usable nutrients such as sugars, proteins, and fats. And this is happening at the very start of the small intestines. The pancreas and liver are secreting all of those enzymes right at the start. Then that small intestine is going to absorb any of those nutrients into the blood, which is awesome because that fuels our body. And then After that, the large intestine is going to absorb water and any vitamins left, and then those hot Cheetos are bye-bye out of our body through the rectum. All right, I'm going to leave you with one last little fact here, and it's called blame it on the bacteria. So when someone's a little farty, flatulent, that smell of the fart isn't because of the food that we're eating. It's because of the bacteria that's fermented inside of your digestive system. So some of those foods can't be broken down, so they're just pushed along, and once they get to that large intestine, different gases are created, creating hydrogen sulfide, which smells like rotten eggs. That's all I got, folks. Hopefully you learned a lot, and please let your teachers know if you have any questions.